But let's get back to today's show. So I got a question for y'all. Now that you all have 3 kids, you're out of debt, you all are building wealth, you all are teaching wealth building stuff on YouTube. How are you having that conversation with your kids?
Ooh. So we've been having these conversations with our kids for a while. So for instance, our oldest just got a job. Like I said earlier, he's 15 and he is working at an ice cream parlor. And
He's working at ice cream?
Yeah, it's called Brahms. It's ice cream burgers.
Yeah.
And he makes about $9.50 an hour.
Okay, man, balling over 15.
You balling that? Because
I wasn't doing that at 15, bro. I was making $4.50 an hour at Taco Bell.
I was making $4 an hour at Publix. First job. Then I got to upgrade $4.25 at Kroger.
$4.25. I was $4.50 at Taco Bell in California.
There you go. There you go. Well, he's balling. So we always tell him, you have to save or invest 50% of anything you make. So when he got his first 2 checks, I opened him a Roth IRA for a minor.
Come on now.
Half of it has gone into there. So, and then my daughter, one thing about her, which she's taking on my personality now, where she has a hard time spending money. She might get $200 and she wants to save $185 and invest it. And then she only keeps $15. So then later on, she'll come to me and say, Daddy, I need some money. Yeah. So we're trying to teach them balance because we have one that just wants to invest too much. I mean, is there such thing as too much? But it could be, right? Like if they can't, freely spend it and have fun with it. Then you have, we had the oldest one who didn't want to save anything at first, but now he's doing it. Then we have the baby who's kind of in between. So we have had those conversations. What do you say?
I think our oldest, now that he's making his own money, and we have these conversations and we watch all these different financial shows and platforms, he knows that he can be a millionaire by 30. He knows that it's easy.
50% of his check already.
Yeah. So knowing that, it's easy for him to do those things.
He gonna have 6 figures just from the power of compound interest before he graduates high school, if he keep that up.
Right.
Depending on how much he works, how much he puts inside of it. But what?
I just, I think back when I was 15 years old and I was working, and I just can't imagine had I put $10 or $15 of every check into an index fund or a mutual fund, what it would look like now. So we don't want to make the same mistake with our kids.
Listen, man, how do you do that? How do you that's the question that I ask young people. Listen, if you make $5,000 throughout this year, right? Listen, just put $2,000 in a Roth IRA. You do that just for 6 years, so that thing sit there for 30 years. You never, what in the world? You sitting on 7 figures when your friends gonna be sitting on negative money. There's a study that came out that said that by 2053, people who look like us, we're gonna be negative in our net worth. We're not gonna have, a whole bunch of money. We're gonna be so in debt that we are negative in our net worth.
See, and these are studies that are predicting these things, but why can't we collectively stop that in reverse course? Right?
But how do we do it? What, in your opinion, what do we have to do as a people to stop that?
First of all, we have to have these conversations. That is a start. And just continuing to educate people. Like we talked about Rich and Regular, Julian and Kirsten, and they have the Money on the Table episodes and things like that. And they're having these, blunt conversations with people and trying to take off the edge of having those money discussions and not making it so taboo.
One of the things I agree with you on is, I agree with you on that part. And it's like, we have to understand to have this conversation, we may not all agree on particulars. But we do agree on financial freedom. And that there's gonna be different routes. I had an opportunity to be on Earn Your Leisure and some other platforms, and not everyone agrees with my method, but I like the fact that we can all still have a conversation. And I think that's important for the culture. What else do you think? Because I'm so curious about this, especially for us. How do we change that future, man?
Let me also say this. So we bought our house in 2015. And periodically, we start looking to upgrade our house. We start going to houses, taking our kids to houses, and always looking for better. But I had a friend who one day said, Google the hedonic treadmill, hedonic adaptation. So I looked it up, and basically it says no matter where you are, everybody has a baseline of happiness. And if you have a loved one who dies, you'll fall for a little bit. You'll be depressed, but then you'll gradually work your way up to that baseline. If you go buy a new house, a new car, you will be high for a few weeks, then you'll work your way back down. So basically what that says is that no matter what you do, the highs or lows, it won't make you a happier person. And once I learned about that, now if we go look at a house or car, it's like, will the payoff be worth, how much we have to pay for it? And we always come back and say no. Like the extra mortgage payment, the increasing mortgage debt, will it make us any happier than we are now? Maybe for a couple of weeks, but ultimately it won't.
Yeah.
So if we kind of compare that to what we see on social media, where people always are trying to seek happiness and they're always trying to outdo their friends, outdo even themselves, and ultimately at the end of the day, they're no happier than they were.
Yeah, and I think you were telling me that you all were thinking about buying a house and you look at it, nah, we're just going to stay right here. So y'all's philosophy is let's go ahead and just pay it off. And then whenever we get, to retirement age, we'll look at it.
Yep.
All right. We've already gotten out of debt, and I don't want to put my whole paycheck again on a mortgage payment.
Yeah.
See, I think you just made some people upset. Well, if you got the money, how come you can't enjoy it? And that's what they're saying.
I enjoy having freedom and options better.
Thank you. And again, your freedom and options may look different from my freedom and options.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think there's nothing wrong with that. But I think we as a people have to really look at, we are creative, we are smart, but we're drowning in debt.
Yep.
They say that the average Black person would die leaving their kids with bills and with benefits. And the benefits are only enough to take care of the bills. Not to set them up for legacy, not to set them up on how to build wealth. It's hey, I'm gonna leave you enough benefits to bury me. I'm gonna leave you enough benefits to take care of some of the bills. And I'm sorry. And I don't want that for us.
Well, I agree 100%. So what would a 65-year-old Anthony think about the decisions that the 37-year-old Anthony made? That's how you have to look at things.
Absolutely.
And right now, the trajectory we have, we feel like we'll be proud of the decisions we made. But I'm not proud of the decisions 20-year-old Rashad made.
Me neither.
Yeah, no, so.
I'm not even proud of all the decisions that I've made at 37 or 37 now.
Absolutely. So we just always have to have those conversations within our household.
Absolutely.
But more importantly, with ourselves.
Yes.
Well, I know I've made multiple mistakes and I've pulled her into some of those and she's been forgiving. But at the same time, she holds herself accountable because I can say, hey, let's go get this car, and she signs off on it. She can't necessarily just say, oh, he bullied me into that. She also takes ownership as well, because it's never been a dictatorship. It's been 50-50, but sometimes she might feel like a little pressure, But ultimately, if she says no, then we're not going to do it. So I don't know what you got to add to that.
50-50? So y'all believe in because I'm in that generation of they don't really like that term 50-50. If you bring that up to a 25-year-old, 50-50, no, it's going to be 100 him and I do what I want to do.
So I'm guessing you're speaking about like the financial part right now.
Absolutely.
I probably make almost 75%. 70% of the household income,
right?
But it's our money, so we just throw everything in one account, and then she gets her blow money, I get my blow money. I don't question her about her blow money; she doesn't question me about mine.
So let me get it straight, because I want to make sure I understand what you're saying. Make sure it's like what I teach. It's you have the primary checking, all the money goes into that. Y'all budget it. Y'all have a savings account, then y'all have two different checking accounts. And if y'all agree, all right, you get 500, you get 1,000. Whatever, if I come back home with a Louis bag that costs me $700, it's okay. That was your blow money.
Yeah, because in the past, let's say we just have that one checking account, and my birthday's coming up, and she wants to do something for me. Well, if I see a $200 purchase from Macy's or whatever, I know like it's for me. So now it's like, hey, she gets her account, I get my account. Whatever we do within those accounts, we're not micromanaging each other.
And it avoids all that, what you just said. Whatever I want to buy for me, I buy for me. What he wants to buy for him.
So is your hair money, because your hair flawless right now, is your hair money coming out of the primary as in the budgeted account, or is it coming out of your spending account?
So like for me, because as a woman, women sometimes need other things.
Yeah.
I get a little more blow money than he does. So
It's really.
Yeah. So,
I don't know about all that. That's gonna be 50-50.
so I'll be transparent. So I give myself, we give me $250 a month. We give her $500. If I have
I need
$500,
a little bit. You double the amount.
I mean,
That's a good husband right there.
but I mean, a $20 haircut versus a,
Yeah.
But that's once a month.
depends on the style.
I'm gonna be real. Like, I can't imagine what I would do with $500 a month. I ain't trying to get in no trouble, so I give myself $250, give her $500, and we good.
$500 a month, yeah, bro. That's good.
So that's the
makes
why, right? So we for so long we were constricted, and we had those shackles.
Yeah.
So once I explained to her, okay, once we're debt free, we don't have to worry about paying all these other people. We will have more freedom and financial peace, and that's what she has now. She gets all of this extra money. She don't have to worry about.
So if she said, I'm getting $500, it costs me $250 to do my hair. I'm gonna stack this $250 for like 4 months. That's $1,000. She comes home with a Louis Vuitton purse for $1,000. Emotionally, are you saying, what did you just do? Or are you like, okay, cool.
I'm like, I don't care, because it didn't come out of the household budget.
The household budget.
Yeah.
And like, for an example, what's all in a household budget?
Well, you have your give, you have your retirement, Roth IRA, 403B, the mortgage,
All that stuff is in there.
kids, food, gas, all of that stuff is in there.
That's exactly what I teach. And, and that's what I would have. I would have checking account, primary, where all the money goes into. Then I would have a emergency fund where we never touch that account. Then I'll probably have another savings account for just if we were building for a house, or we both said we want to go on a trip, boom. Then we'll have 2 checking accounts.
Yep.
And then as I have kids, they will have their own checking account that I would give to them to. I want to monitor my kids. I will be micromanaging my kids.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. Because they don't know any better.
Right.
Because even with our son's money, we make him save the 50%, and then he has his own checking account.
Yeah.
And he still asks, hey, Dad, can I buy this or can I buy that? And we tell him, hey, do what you want. Yeah. But we still let him know it's an opportunity cost. So if you buy this $80 pair of shoes.
Yeah. Don't come to me when you need $20 for, a trip or something for school or lunch money. No, you better eat your shoes.
And he also needs to know those $80 pair of shoes, right? 30 years from now, it could be a $1,600 pair of shoes just because of the missed opportunity. So we don't want them to think about that with everything. Like every meal you have, that could have been compound interest, but we do want them to understand.
Man, I love it, man. I love it. One last thing before we go. What is one piece of advice you'll give people right now, single people who are desiring marriage? What is one piece of advice you'll give them to set them up to win financially when they get inside of a marriage?
To be completely honest with you, man, the number one thing you need to do is get out of debt ASAP. Get out of debt and stay out of debt. That's it.
You have any disagreement?
Not at all. And don't be afraid of the word budget. It's not a bad thing.
Thank you.
It's not a bad thing.
Yo, so where can my people find you, man?
Wealth Building Educator on YouTube.
Okay.
Email is thewealthyeducator@gmail.com. If you have any questions, I'm always available. We're doing coaching sessions and things like that. So,
yo, it's the table right here in Atlanta. See you next week. Peace.